Are you a student who loves to learn, but you feel like you're too easily distracted, and you're afraid if you can't focus, your grades will suffer and you'll never achieve your goals? Well, it's not a bad thing. It's just your unique neurobiology. Your traits matched you into Kitsune Club. Understanding who you are will help you reach your full potential. You see, we're all about self-discovery here at Cajun Koi Academy. First, let's revisit your brain type. Kitsunes are wind types, which give them adaptable traits. Their prefrontal circuits are wired for dynamic responses, making them charismatic and creative. Kitsunes are excitable and live dramatically. People see a kitsune and think, sheesh, that's a rookie who knows how to party. They're a fun time, but probably chaotic too. Their limbic system, the part of the brain that regulates emotions, is wired to be highly reactive to stimulation, making kitsunes curious, sensitive, and spontaneous. But enough of the nerdy stuff. Let's talk about how this neurobiology translates into kitsune's personality and behavior when it comes to student skills. Let's start with critical thinking, because understanding the way we think tells us everything. How does a kitsune think? How do they learn and problem solve? Kitsunes are dynamic thinkers. They're energetic and eager to take in as much information as fast as possible. So they naturally approach problem solving by jumping in and getting their hands dirty. They prefer to try first and think later. This means they tend to be fast learners, especially when picking up highly technical skills. But they also quickly forget what they learn. So as a kitsune, you should always try to schedule in review time to reinforce what you learn to make it stick. Don't be too hasty to move on, and make sure you keep what you already have. Now let's talk about what is arguably the most powerful quality of a kitsune: their boundless curiosity. Kitsunes get easily absorbed into their work, and even the least stimulating subjects can be fascinating to them. But this can be a good and a bad thing. We can never know for sure which way the wind blows. Kitsune's curiosity is unpredictable. Sure, being curious and excitable makes learning easier, but kitsunes are often impulsive and bounce from interest to interest so frequently that they don't spend enough time mastering anything. Just because a kitsune can act quickly doesn't make them more productive if they get bored and can't follow through. Kitsunes also have a tendency to multitask, which can be counterproductive when they need to do things that require more focus. So be aware of this and reel yourself in if you jump ship too soon. This is a nice segue into time management, because now we can combine what we know about their motivation with their energy level. Typically, kitsunes are most productive when they can follow their own interest throughout the day. Because they're so spontaneous, kitsunes do very well without a strict schedule. They also enjoy spontaneously snacking throughout the day instead of meals. Kitsunes thrive when they have a list of projects to work on freely. For instance, pick a class to study for, a habit to build, and a hobby to learn. Have these projects on rotation, and when you get bored of one, you can move on to another. By the time you get to the third one, you might regain motivation for the first one. Now let's move on to everyone's favorite topic: stress management. The most overlooked and underrated student skill is being able to reflect on how stress affects us. And if we can manage it, that's a good sign we're in control. But aside from the usual stress about exams and school, what are the other big sources of stress for kitsunes? A lot of it ties back to the kitsune's heightened responses to stimulation. Because they are very sensitive, kitsunes feel stress when their mind is allowed to overthink. This stress response is especially noticeable when they're scrutinized. Let's say a kitsune overhears a classmate tell them they're being weird. A kitsune's mind will run wild, getting lost in thought loops or daydreams about all the possible implications of a very harmless statement. They react with excessive worry and concern. Kitsunes are the classic overthinkers and often exaggerate consequences of most situations, which makes them prone to anxiety. Some kitsunes struggle with symptoms similar to ADHD, like difficulty focusing or impulsivity. But don't forget that everyone feels those symptoms from time to time. Just know that your anxiety follows the same pattern as your motivation. It comes and goes like the wind. So we want to acknowledge these feelings. Realize that it's part of our neurochemistry, and not let them determine our actions, or worse, harm those around us. Pay attention to how you respond to stressors. Practice mindfulness and bringing your attention back to the present when it begins to wander. Although the spirit of Kitsune Club is strongest in you, Don't forget that all 3 types of focus energy are inside us. There will be times when your Tora or Kuma energy shine through, so don't fixate on any limiting beliefs that you might have about yourself. The Kitsune Club isn't meant to place you into a box. Instead, let it be your guide in personal reflection and self-discovery. Kitsunes are creative, and many often rise to become brilliant innovators after graduation from Keijin Koi. Step into this role of learning as much as you can, and share that knowledge with others around you. So what will you do next, rookie? Pick up some study skills in the classroom, or hop in for a productive study session at the study hall? The choice is yours.